Let's go.
Well, fine. Well, let's go. I could not agree with that start more.
Yeah,
Sean, you join us from South Africa, and
yes,
you guys at home remember that we interviewed Dollar Bill already. So we're very pleased
yes,
to be interviewing Sean, who has apparently a lot to tell us about his life, his journey, and what's really going on all the way down
yeah.
there in South Africa. Welcome to Aaron's Opinion. So the first question I ask every guest, so who is Sean? Who are you?
Okay. To be precise, I would say, Lethabo or Shawn is a type of a guy, who's laid back sometimes. Um, also, a person who is, outspoken and, yeah, who has a disability, but sometimes, I just like take whatever it takes of me or something like that. But yeah, and I grew up in Mamelodi and I still stay here in Mamelodi in Pretoria. And I'm 24 years of age. And yeah, I am in I am in different what do you call this? Disabled disability organizations. There's this other one that I'm in. I'm mentored by, which is Rehoboth Rapture, and it's owned by my mentor, which is Ernest Furumele. And there's the other one in our region, which is Region 6. Yeah, it's Region 6 Disability Forum here in Pretoria, which it covers Mamelodi and Nelmapias. And also, there's a lot. And I'm a youth leader in the organization, which is Region 6 Disability Forum, since 2018. Even now, I'm still what do you call this? A youth leader even now. Even I've enjoyed. I've joined another organization, which is Mamelodi Sundowns. Actually, it's a branch here in Mamelodi, which is called Mamelodi Sundowns East Branch, and we we are also like what you call this, like we will be doing a an event on the 28th on Sunday next week. Yeah, because I'll be attending I think two events. Yeah, one is from our organization and the other one is from Mamelodi Sundowns. And the Mamelodi Sundowns event, it comprises of picnic, because we have been like planning it from last week, since last week. No, not last week. I think from the 2nd of this month, because obviously since it was the start of the Disability Rights Awareness Month, and I just had to sway the idea to them, so that they can also implement the idea and share with the people, what's going to happen on that day and everything that's going to be panning out and everything. And we have we have other five people who are disabled, which is a friend of mine who is, I was with him just a while ago. His name is Maule Mushiha. He is epileptic, and yeah, we have other four. Yeah, it's just that I don't know their what you call this, their disabilities, but yeah. So that's one thing that we are also doing. So yeah. And yo, I think that's about it. Yeah, because I said a mouthful of it.
Yeah. You said a lot of interesting things that I'm going to come back to in a moment, but you don't really know a whole lot about me, but my name is, well, as you realize now, is Aaron Richmond. And
Yeah,
you probably have seen my name around various WhatsApp groups and you've always
yeah, I,
wanted to,
yeah. Sorry to cut you on that. Yeah, I've seen them. I think on Zollywood Cinema,
yeah.
and that on, I think on what, on Mischievous Man as well.
Yes,
And I've
indeed,
seen,
indeed. That
yeah,
is me. So
so,
it's so good. So it's so good to
like,
get to finally, have a conversation. So now we know who we are. But I was
yeah.
born blind, and I was born with glaucoma. So would you like to share with us how you became blind and all of that?
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Well, man, it was something that, well, I was born blind as well. Partially, not partially blind, but totally blind. And I used to go to various hospitals like Kalafong in, yeah, actually, let me say Kalafong. Also, in and out. Then, and then, yeah, I went to various churches, to seek healing for that. Then, also, yeah, afterwards, then, yeah, before they did my operation on my eyes actually, I broke my left arm, which is, I don't know if you can see it. Um, oh yeah, I think, yeah, somewhere here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so yeah, so even I got burned. So I have like burnt scars or burnt marks um on it. And you know, and yeah, that's where they did an operation on my eye, and then they did an operation also on my arm. And I became epileptic as well, at an early age. I can't remember which age was it. And yeah, and I had another complication, which is, speech problems. And then, yeah, like, if I could remember, I think 1 year and a couple of months, like I couldn't speak. So yeah, from then that's where I went for speech therapy. Um, yeah, there's an hospital here in Pretoria, the old hospital, which is HF. Yeah, I used to go there for my speech therapy, and I attended a school in Gezina, which is Pretoria School. Yeah, I went there, and 2000 and, if I could remember, I think it was in 2008. Um, yeah, well, actually, I wouldn't say I graduated because I was in grade 3 at the time. And also, yeah, and actually, it transferred me to Prince of School for the Blind. That's where I spent my rest of my life there from 2009 to 2014. So I graduated until grade 9. Since then, I've been at home since then. Like, this year, it's like 7 years now.
Right. Sure,
Yeah,
sure. So, another interesting point that you've already made is that you are a leader, a youth leader in your community, and you want to be a leader.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I think around the world today we're having a great struggle understanding what leadership is and what a leader really is. So, to
yeah.
you, what is a leader? Why are you a great leader? And what changes will you bring to South Africa and the world?
Well, to be precise, I would say a leader is somebody who is responsible, for, not just actions, but the the prosperity of people, you know. I wouldn't say protection, but to serve the people with their needs. And and I forgot to mention that I am also a deputy chair at Mamelodi Sundance East Branch here in Mamelodi. Um, yeah, I've been in this position for let me say 3 weeks now, because it's my week this week it's week 3. And yeah, I've been, you know, and a leader, they can make mistakes, right? They do make mistakes, but
Sure.
they stand firm from that, and also they can learn from their mistakes. That's what I always told myself, because my motto is never give up in what you do in life. That's what my motto says. And to me, it just makes me to feel who I am and what I do in the community. and not just in community, but in the structures of Mamelodi Sundowns, especially in our branch. And I used to go, like, not I used to go to events, but I do go to events. Um, you know, yeah, like I attend meetings every Tuesday night. You know, yeah, but it sometimes it can be tough, as a blind person, especially like going to a meeting at night, and then when you have to come back, you have to come back with people, and sometimes it can be a bit tough, at times, especially when it's load shedding, and you have to you have to do things in some way so that we can maybe do other stuff. But for me, a leader is somebody who is respected, whether you are a president, you are a minister, a prime minister, or whether you are a church leader or a pastor. It doesn't matter who you are, but as people know you and respect you, that's what a leader is made out of. And that's one thing that I like to be a leader, and it's to lead people, not to make them to go astray, and not to also get lost in any form of information.
Right, absolutely. So you have been consistently talking about this. I think you're saying it's called Memelati Sundance, something like that.
Yes,
What
yes.
what is so? It sounds like it's some sort of organization, and I'm
Yeah,
American. So can you tell our listeners more like the history of that organization and what it is?
no, actually, Mamelodi Sundowns is a
Oh,
soccer team.
oh,
Yeah, actually,
oh.
yeah, and like even they're playing right now. Like the Mamelodi Sundowns ladies against the African team here in I think in Ghana, or yeah, I think it's Ghana, yeah, if I could remember. So yeah, they're playing right now. Like it's right now it's like 7 minutes past seven. So yeah, the match has started. But um yeah, it is a soccer team. So they have branches of supporters around the country, also around the continent of Africa, um, from South Africa, Botswana, Namibia. Actually, yeah, they have supporters from Namibia, and they're going to, I think, launch a branch there on the 5th of March next year. But my main focus, actually, for me, it's just right here at home, South Africa. That's my main aim, because I want to represent people with disabilities, not just only the public with everything that they know, but with people with people who are living with disabilities. For them, it is a challenge, because sometimes, going to a game, they won't get access to, especially wheelchairs, people who are wheelchair bound. I just think that they won't be, um how can I put this, like something that has to do with, the footballing kind of side, or let me say soccer, because I know in America there's football, like.
No, no, I call it football, and I don't watch American football, so I call it football.
Yeah, that's one thing that I just wanted to change the narrative from football to soccer, because sometimes it can be confusing.
I'm not confused.
So
Let's call it foot. No, let's not. No, that's a narrative we don't need to change. Let's keep it with
yeah,
football.
yeah. So because on top of the thing that I was saying, yeah, we have supporters around Africa. Yeah, we have like from Egypt, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, all over the continent. And recently they just said, okay, they're going to do what do you call this? They're going to launch a branch there in Namibia. So yeah, but sticking with people with disabilities, for me, I would say people with disabilities, there are special people because they have to be treated right, you know, especially when it comes to going to stadiums and everything.
So
For
you're
me,
really one thing that is really standing out to me is you're a huge fan. You're really passionate about going to the football matches and you're really into it. So tell me, in South Africa, what, are there any laws? Are there any laws that help to are there any laws about people with disabilities in South Africa? What do you think?
mm, yes, they are, but the problem is that they're not utilized. They are
Mm-hmm.
not utilized because, like, let's say for example, like a blind person when he or she maybe let's say maybe applies for a job, then they chase the person away. Or let's say for example, maybe they apply for, let's say for a college, at college, maybe you say maybe a course in a college, and then they have to apply for bursary as well. And that's what happened to me in 2015. Because when I have to apply for that, I was also, you know, I don't know how to put it, but to, I had to write a test, and that test for me, it was not the thing that I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do IT, but they just did something that was not even on my list, you know. And afterwards, after writing that test, then it was something that they gave me a run around, and then each and every week I had to come back, and you know it's something like a challenge to every disabled person here in South Africa, because obviously there are laws but they are not used properly.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine when you want to be employed, but like 7% of people with living with disabilities, they're not even employed. Even now they are not.
Mm-hmm.
I would say before it was 5%, but they didn't even um employ one person. Because I remember my mentor told me this when I think in 2016. Yeah, I think it was a few months after I um I joined his organization, and I joined it by a friend of mine. His name is Sonia, and I think he lives. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think he was living in Silverton, if I could remember. Yeah, so he told me about this organization, and then I went there. I think the following week, you know. So yeah, that's when I met him, and then I get to know him better and everything. Then he mentored me. Even now, it's been 5 years since he's mentoring me since, and even now, I've never looked back. Even now, and for me, I see challenges everywhere. Even in El Mafias, in El Mafias in Extension 22, there's a huge, 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 huge challenge. There's a huge challenge. Many houses don't have ramps, especially because many people who are living with disabilities, mostly it's people who are in wheelchairs. Some they don't have ramps in their houses. You have to pick the wheelchair up and then to get them in. So it
Mm-hmm.
is a huge problem here in South Africa, because even the government itself, when you take this to uh, let's say something, maybe it has to be in a matter of urgency, they don't even take it. But imagine 27 years after South Africa has been in democracy, this thing it's not even implemented, that people with disabilities should be in in a employment, what do you call this, environment, you know. So
Right.
now, even now for me, I'm still at home 7 years later, and imagine I'm still how can I say this? Like I'm living with, like, like I do get grant from social services here in South Africa, but it has been how many years now? 6 years now. You know, it
Right.
has been temporary for 6 years, and usually it was permanent. Like since I was at school, it was permanent. Then 2015 they just cut it off because I was 18 that time, and now it's like 6 years later. I'm 24. Nothing is happening. They just said temporary, temporary, temporary up until now. You know, so those are the challenges that government is not looking at. They just thought that they just think that people living with disabilities, that disabilities are going to just disappear like that, and they just have to live their life. You know, so for me it's
Mm-hmm.
so simple, and I don't know, because I just joined uh, this sorry, I just joined a political party just a few months ago. I think it was on the 21st of March. There's a Human Rights Day. I think it was on a Saturday, if I could remember. Yeah. So this political party, it's called DOPP, Disability or Elder Persons Party. So yeah, it also helps about people. It also helps people with disabilities in South Africa and elderly people. So yeah, and I just launched this thing that I'm talking about right now to them, and they said they're going to look at it, and then they will make a date for a protest, something like that. But I'm still waiting for them, but I'm still confident that it would it would shake the government to wake them up and see what's going on, you know, because people with disabilities, they are not working. Some of them, they don't have metric, or let me say grade 12. Some they have grade 10, grade 11, grade 9, you know, and it is serious. And now, even now, as I can tell you, like over 30% of young people are unemployed, especially people with disability are unemployed, most of them. So that's one thing that is worrying in the disability community here in South Africa, and that's also a challenge.
I think you're very right. I think the issue is really twofold. One of the parts of the issue is that you're saying basically that in South African society they don't really want people with disabilities to be counted. They don't want you to matter. Um, they've basically othered you. They've othered all the people with disabilities and said you don't matter. And then the other huge problem is that when you are not working, it creates a burden economically upon the
Yeah.
government, and then the government has to spend more money. You see what people, and we have a sort of a similar problem in America. Even in America, we have blind people, disabled people who are not able to get a job. It's still a huge problem in every country. But the part that is misunderstood is that a lot of people
Yeah.
around the world think, well, if we just give them a stipend or if we just give them social security benefits, that's
Yeah.
that's good for them. No, actually it's not good for them
Yeah,
because it's
it is not, because imagine here in South Africa, we only get 1,800, per month. And with that 1,800 rand, you only just, and it's I would say it's too little. It's too little, because like when my phone beeps, like around, let me say, every month, like when the money comes in, like sometimes it beeps like around, like sometimes 12 like it's 12 midnight, sometimes at 3 in the morning, and I just see that it's just the same amount, and that same amount, like it's too little, and you can't do anything if you have to pay bills. It just it just ends up there, or you can't
Right.
even buy groceries. You can't buy, you can't buy anything, you know.
Right, because really the true evil in this, and again, we have this problem not just there, but this is also happens in America too. But the true evil behind that, here's why this is truly evil, and I cannot agree with you more, Sean. The problem
Yeah,
here is that by setting up this system, it's making people dependent upon the government and dependent
yeah,
upon and expecting that the government
yeah,
will care for them, and that historically fails 100% of the
yeah,
time. It failed for the
mm,
Soviets, and it has failed for every society that has tried the quote
yeah,
unquote welfare state.
yeah,
No one
yeah,
fares well under welfare.
yeah,
If it was good, the only way that you fare well is by working. Now,
yeah,
it is not your fault, but I'm just saying
yeah,
that's unfortunately that's the situation. That's really what this is.
mm,
And the
mm,
only way to overcome it and to topple this system is to keep educating people about it, Sean, because you'd be surprised. A lot
yeah,
of Americans don't even know about South Africa. I mean, you might know a little bit about it, but
yeah,
most Americans are not aware of the severity of your country.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah, because I might know about America, like maybe about the places and all that, but the history behind it, I don't know nothing. That's one thing. And also, same as they in America, they won't even know about the history, what was happening back then during the apartheid era, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So yeah, it can be, consequential when it comes to, people living with disability sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. It's no excuse for it, but the truth is that South Africa truly, up until very recently, really was never the way that I can express it, and you can completely disagree with me if you want. But
Mm,
I
mm,
think, with all my love in history and talking to people from your country, I think that the truth
yeah,
is that South Africa was really never well. South Africa was always a troubled, um, and kind of a troubled place forever. I don't think it was ever,
true.
it's kind of like the mind. I think South Africa was a very sick place. I think it had a lot of
Yeah,
health problems. So
yeah, yeah,
I don't think it was ever good. It was better under Mandela and progressively better and better and better a little bit, but still probably a pretty messed up country, right?
it is like, look at right now, like I don't know if you read about the what you call this, the July unrest that happened in this year in July, where
You know what? I vaguely remember hearing about something that happened, that there was some uprising or protest in your country, right?
yeah, there was, but it affected two provinces, which is Gauteng and KZN, and mainly they targeted the malls and the warehouses where they manufacture products. That's where it started.
And how did this start?
Yo, like, if I could remember, because they say there was like, what do you call this? I think there was somebody who was spreading voice notes about the what you call this, the unrest that was going to happen on that week. Because I remember, I think I received an what you call this, a voice note from one of the groups here in South Africa, and I didn't want to share it with people, so I just kept it to myself. And then after that, then I deleted the whole thing because I didn't want to be in trouble. So
Right.
I just thought, let me just keep this, then listen to it yet again, and hear what is going on. Because I mean, you know, sometimes when you hear about corruption, it's something like that, because now there were like burning trucks that that are coming from Johannesburg and Pretoria to go to Durban Harbor, from Durban Harbor to come here, and it's something that it's, I don't know, you know, it's something that it is worrying, in some at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had heard about this a little bit in the States, but the American media does not focus on this matter.
Mm.
So what goes on in South Africa is oftentimes not heard of in other parts of the world, especially, across the pond where I am in America. But,
Yeah.
that's very frustrating and very, very counterproductive. And
Yeah.
at the same time, so I
Mm.
also have to ask, so given all of these challenges,
Mm.
how do you choose to basically make the most of your time and make the most of the situation? And of course, I have to wonder too, is this the first podcast you've ever been on? Because you're doing a great job. Um,
Yeah. Well, it is my first podcast
I'm
because
so glad.
like when you told me on WhatsApp, it was like I was so nervous, like up until today. From Tuesday morning up until today, this morning.
I mean, am I really? I mean, am I really? I mean, am I really that intimidating? Am I really that scary? I mean,
No, 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 no. No, because you know why? Because like I just thought, I was like, no man, like this podcast, it's the first time I'm doing a podcast like this one, like with somebody overseas,
yeah.
like internet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, man. So, but up until now, have you ever? So, do you ever listen to like podcasters from your country? Are there South African podcasts?
No, 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 no.
Well, I'm sure. I'm
I
sure
don't,
there are.
but I've never came across any South African podcast before.
Really, that surprises me.
Yes, it is because like usually I would say that like online radio, I started to listen to it. I think UVC radio. I think I started to listen
Indeed.
to you.
By the way,
I think
By the way, I know the CEO of UVC Radio. He's also here on this podcast.
whoa. What? I can't even believe it.
I know the whole world. You don't even know all the amazing stuff that you'll be able to do now. So we'll
Wow.
get you set up with something with UVC radio. Yeah, yeah. I have spoken to King Rocco before, so he does an
Yeah.
amazing job. Hmm.
Yeah, I know. I think I've listened to his I think I've listened to his show once. I think, yeah, around, if I could remember, I was using my other phone. Wow, I used to listen to UVC quite a lot from last year. Since then,
Hmm.
this year as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, that's really really excellent. Yeah. Yeah. And then how did you get into this whole concept of the voice acting with Zollyhood, and how did you by the way, so do you know Dollar Bill personally? And how did you get into all of that?
Um. Okay, Dollar Bill. Okay. Let me say, Sia. I would say I met him through his radio show, which is Dollar Bill. Um. Yeah. Actually, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was Dollar Bill's Dimension. Yeah, it's Dollar Bill's Dimension. Yeah, if I could remember. So
Dollar bills. Where would some well oh, I've never heard of that. He didn't tell me he had his own show. How do what's this story now? How do I find this show? Mm-hmm.
um, it's just now he said he took a break from it for now.
Uh-huh. Well, that's the excuse anyone would give. But where do I listen to Dollar Bill's Dimension?
Yeah, because because I used to listen to it. I think from last year. I think when was it? I think early November to December, if I could remember. That was when I started to listen to his voice, and then I got to I used to get his number on his on what's this on Friends with Benefits. I think Jay-Z's group, and then I used to I did get it there, and then we started talking from there.
Hmm. Okay, but seriously, what station or was so did Dollar Bill have like was it on UVC radio or like where was his show?
Yes, it was on UVC radio. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, got it, got it. So Dollar Bill had a Dollar Bill's Dimension on
Yeah,
UVC radio. Okay, I see. I see. Interesting.
because he did it. I think on Saturdays, if I could remember. Saturdays.
Right, right.
Saturday. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's all really good. And then, so what types of projects are you working on when in the Zollyhood group?
Um. Oh yeah. Right now, I'm busy with acting. Like we have done season one, which
Mm-hmm.
has um 12 episodes, and we're still waiting on season two. I'm not sure when is it going to start because um we have been signing, membership forms or let's say contracts for the company because they have started a company already. I don't know if you have heard it, if you
One
heard
Vision
about it.
Media.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, not one Vision Media.
Oh,
The Zoluhood universe.
Zollyhood Universal. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because they have a channel also on YouTube as well. That's where I'm referring to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And in fact, I recall in my excellent conversation with Dollar Bill
Mm,
that Dollar Bill has mentioned to me that he would like to get to a point where people who are on Zollyhood are paid
yeah.
for their work. So
Yeah.
I think it will get there eventually.
Yeah.
But I think that we are, I mean, it's not fair. It's not an acceptable excuse, but I think we are held back because of the
Yeah.
pandemic and all of that.
That's true. That's true.
But I have faith that at some point you will in fact be paid for your work that
Yeah.
you've been doing for them. So I also helped them too. I did some acting for them as well, recording one of the scenes for another series that's going to come out. Um,
Oh.
yes, yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
So where have you traveled to outside of South Africa?
I've never traveled anywhere because I would say I travel around Pretoria. Um, no, no, no. Yeah, if I could remember, I traveled to Johannesburg. I think. Yeah, I went to. I think that was in 2018. I went to Tembisa, where the disability parliament where it was held, and yeah, and I went to Soweto as well in Orlando West, where I went for a training. I can't remember what training was it, but yeah, I went there as well. I think it was a two-day training or 3-day training. I can't remember correctly. So yeah, but besides traveling outside Pretoria, um, you know, mostly I travel here in Pretoria, like around Pretoria. Like if it's not here in Mamelodi, whether Yesterdays or in Atteridgeville or Soshanguve, but I've never, yeah, actually in Soshanguve as well. Yeah, because I've never traveled outside South Africa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. So, what can you tell me about your province, Pretoria, and like traveling around that area? What is that like? Can you try to paint a picture for the listener?
Well, Pretoria, it is I would say it is a historical place, as you all know, because we had the likes of Solomon Mahlangu, the late Solomon Mahlangu, and they've named the name. There's a street here in Mamelodi that's called Solomon Mahlangu, and there's another one in town that's called Sfako Makhato. Yeah, so you know, yeah. Also, there's another one called Stanza Bopape. We have also a clinic here that's called Stanza Bopape Clinic, and we have a community hall in Extension 5, which is called Stanza Bopape Community Hall. So that's yeah. So that's the biggest. Those are the biggest names that we have here in Pretoria.
Excellent, excellent. And have you noticed any foreigners in Pretoria?
Yes, yes. We have. I can't say in my language because like some people especially the Somali people or the Pakistan people, they call them Magula. That's in my language, but actually it's Pakistan people. But we do have them here in South Africa. Like many tech shops, they like around the corner here in our corner here. They are there also down the road before you go to the police station. They're also there, like that. They are everywhere. So yeah, I've noticed them over the years.
Right, sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, what are some questions that you have for me and about my life and who I am and my podcast? What do you really want to know?
Well, okay, interesting. Um, yeah, because I want to know about the whole thing. I don't know if maybe, or maybe let me say I don't know, because I don't know much about what you call this Anchor FM. I just saw people posting, what you call this, the links, or let me say podcasts about that, because I've seen them but I haven't listened to them. It's just that I just came across them, but I don't know about Anchor FM and like when did it start and everything.
Well, I don't know really specifically when Anchor FM began, but the
Yeah.
concept is that it is basically a very easy way and the
Hmm.
most accessible way to create a podcast that the entire world can listen to. And you build up your
Yeah.
platform and you build your episodes and then you launch your episodes and then people play them
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and like that. So
Mm.
the real reason why I got into podcasting was a few years ago. I was
Mm.
listening to podcasts in the blindness community.
Yeah.
And I felt that there are a lot of great podcasts around the blindness community, but they just are not open enough for me. They're not open
Yeah.
enough to, my opinions and being able to talk to guests from all walks of life and all over the world. And I think
Mm.
that's a big problem in the community. And so I wanted to create an environment where people
Yeah.
like you or
Yeah.
anyone really can come and share their story and just have a place to talk. And I think that is very, very valuable to you
Yeah.
and so many others. So that's
Yeah.
my goal here at Aaron's Opinion. I have
Mm.
spoken to Dollar Bill and I've spoken to people all over the world.
Mm.
Most of my guests are blind, but sighted people are welcome. So it just, it really depends on the topic. Yes.
Okay, I think I have a second question.
Good. Ask all of your questions.
But yeah, I remember you told me about your condition. I think it was what, Kubiki syndrome, or it was something like that.
Yeah, I forgot that I told you. I'm sure, sure. So I was born with a particular syndrome,
Yeah.
where I have both glaucoma and then I also have something wrong with my heart.
Yeah.
So once a year I have to go to an ophthalmologist,
Hmm.
and once every year and a half or 2 years, or really as long as I'm able to forget about it, I also have to go to a cardiologist to make sure my heart is good.
Sure.
So yeah, um, and
Okay.
mhm.
That's that's something that's how can I say, like that's like painful though.
Well, maybe, but I'm sure that it is a lot. In fact, I know from talking to Dollar Bill that it's very difficult in South Africa to find the
It
best
is.
doctors. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is because like most of the time, you know, I would say I used to like go for eye checkups when I was young. Then they came like when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, and then that's when the whole thing changed,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, so now I have to take treatment for epilepsy, and then you know 2009 they misdiagnosed me. They said I have hypertension and high blood pressure, and which is not. And I remember, what was it? I think last year they told me that I um like let me say, probably I don't have, or let me say, actually I don't have the conditions that they were diagnosed me with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's how it is here in South Africa.
Right. Right. So it's very, very hard to find the best doctor. You know.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a major It's a major, major problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what are some things that you are really, all of us have our dream jobs or our dreams. So really, if you could do any job, or if you could really start getting into the workforce of your country, where do you see yourself, and what exactly would you like to do?
Ooh. Well, when I was when yeah, if I could remember, when I was young, I used to say that I wanted to be like a pilot, but only to find out that usually they use eye coordination so much. So I just decided like let me just take myself maybe or let me say let me take a break for now, and then think about it. And just recently, I think from 2013, I think I was in grade. I remember I was in grade. Um, yeah, I think I was in grade. I think it was a grade 7, if I could remember. Then I decided that look, I want to do IT because I was fascinated by computers and how it works, you know, and you know, there's one thing that I wanted to do, and I'm still struggling for that, but I don't know how will I do that. How will I achieve that? So yeah, that's something that I wanted to do my whole life, because for me, I would say it's something that um I do learn quite a lot, especially when it comes to new phones or new laptops that are coming in from other brands, also from Nokia, or let me say from other brands. I'm just stating like examples from that, and you know, and I'm still fascinated by this technology space even now. When they were talking about the 4IR, I was like, wait a minute, what is 4IR? And I had to like research and see what is the 4IR and everything. And I used to watch documentaries about technologies, the new technologies, the drones, the electric cars, and all that. You know, and yeah, that's the type of job that I wanted to do. Since then.
Right, right. So I think that there are jobs that you can definitely accomplish in that realm for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
It's just the problem seems to be that the society around you is not really receptive or interested in the
yeah,
business of people with disabilities. And one of the problems that this causes and was when someone does not want your business,
mm,
there's like nothing, you're stuck. There's nothing you can do about it. If they won't work with you,
yeah,
they won't. This is
mm, mm,
this is an ongoing problem also in the United States, that we have people that quite frankly do not want the business of people with disabilities. So,
Yes.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Hmm. Okay. Well, and what are some other activities that you are doing in your free time?
Ah, my ah, you know, when I'm at home, I'm just, it's just the typical stuff. You just wake up, watch TV. Sometimes I listen to music. Sometimes I just take a nap because, I get bored quite easily. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say much that I do have like interesting activities. It's just typical stuff that it's just typical stuff like basic stuff that I do.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
what do you like? What are some common shows or some common programs that you think are really interesting that really hold your interest?
Well, well, I would say like most of the time I used to not YouTube, but I usually watch what you call this, like I watch like channels like that involves animals, sometimes also
Ah, me
documentary.
too.
But like the most one that I love the most, it's Snakes in the City, because you get to learn more about snakes
Oh, I
and
love talking about that. I love that show already. I've never seen it, but I already love it. Love it.
yeah, because like I see it like almost every day, almost every single day, like around 12:30 my time. Then that's when I get to see the whole thing.
That's
That's when
amazing. I love snakes. I would love a snake as a pet. They're just so sweet, and that's so good that there's an educational show about them.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because it's hosted by, I think it's Simon Keys and his girlfriend, who's, I think they are Australian guys. Actually, they're based in Durban.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's called, and the show is called Snakes in the City?
Yes.
I'll have
That
to check. I bet there's some episodes of that lying around on YouTube, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked them out.
Well, probably there. Well, I'll check it out. That sounds like a great show. Yeah. And what about you, man? Do you have any pets?
No, 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 no. I don't have, because like my grandmother hates pets.
Ah,
She like seriously, she hates pets. That's why.
yeah.
Like she doesn't like pets. She doesn't like dogs. She doesn't like anything that has to be associated with a pet.
I think that's pretty common, Sean. I think most older people, what it is they didn't grow up with pets inside their house. It was just a farming thing or outdoor thing, so they
Yeah.
didn't really like they never really got used to that. But
Yeah.
I think that is fine. My dream is to have my own parrot, my own bird, but my parent but my parents do not agree with that. So we
Yeah.
we all have our little struggles about these types of matters, but that is very, very fascinating that you two share the interest in snakes, and that's really good. That's really, really good. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, all very good. Um, so what are some? I mean, what are some of your future hopes and future goals and things like that?
Um, well, my future goals, I would say, I want to work with people. I want to continue working with people with disabilities. And there's a friend of mine, I met last weekend on Saturday. His name is Calvin. He said there's something that he wants to work with me on, and I just said no, it's fine. We can do it together, as long as he tells me what it is, and then we can work on it. So that's one thing that I want to work on with people with disabilities.
Right, right. So that's another thing that I will tell you is that it's really important, whether you're a content creator or whatever you might be doing. I think it's
Yeah.
really important to figure out who your audience is and
Yeah,
only speak to your audience and only surround yourself with your audience.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yes, that is very important to figure out who your audience is. There's only three important things in a podcast: the audience, the
yeah,
audience, and the audience. And once you understand who
yeah,
your listeners and viewers are, then you can
yeah.
really go really, really far. But it takes a
Mm.
while to figure out what people actually are supporting of you and, things like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. That is very interesting.
Yeah,
Do you like to sing?
yeah. Well, yeah, but not that much.
I see. I see. That is interesting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I do like to sing,
Mm-hmm.
but not always.
Well, do you ever sing on podcasts?
Uh not much,
Hey,
not
that
much.
is fine. That is fine. Sometimes with my international guests, I have a little challenge at the end where, especially if you have a beautiful national anthem like South Africa, I was going to say,
Yeah,
do you want to sing the South Africa national anthem? That would be very nice. But I
yeah,
I understand. I understand. Well, I really hope that you one thing that you can do every day is you
yeah,
listen to episodes of Aaron's Opinion. As you know, we
mm,
I we upload a new episode for you
yeah,
on the podcast or the YouTube channel once a week, every Thursday at twelve
yeah,
hundred New York. So if it's a Thursday, if it's 1200
yeah.
New York, that means that
Which is
there's,
7 o'clock, like South African time.
well, good. So if you're in South Africa, if it's 7 p.m. 1900 on a Thursday, that means that you can go find a new episode of Aaron's Opinion to take a play and take a listen. And I
Yeah,
really hope that this podcast is a sense of inspiration and peace to you. And I really hope that you're able to get a lot out of this and truly better your life simply from speaking up about the problems and challenges of your society and
yeah,
having the courage to educate the world about it, because the world deserves to know, and the world doesn't
yeah,
really seem to know all of these
yeah.
factors. So
Um, sorry to cut you.
no problem.
Um, yeah, because I saw my mother was speaking about she wants me to talk about, I don't know if maybe have you like experienced something like with gender-based violence or something like that. I don't know if maybe you have read
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
I mean, there is all sorts of, even in America, the answer is yes. We still have these types of issues. It's not quite as bad as it is there, but our country still has plenty of problems. So as we start to close out another great episode, as I said before, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me today. I really enjoyed talking to you. For
Yeah,
someone who, by the way, for someone who had to go to speech therapy and had to have some speech lessons, you speak
yeah,
very beautifully. You have a beautiful way of talking, and you're very clear.
yeah. Thank you, thank you.
So your English skills are perfect, crystal clear, and I
Yeah,
don't think anyone should ever have a problem understanding you. So, Shawn, as we wrap up this episode, I like to end it by saying, again, thanks, but also, if you can ask me only one more question to really make me sweat, to really see
yeah,
if I'm worth my salt as a podcaster, what do you want to ask
yeah.
me?
Hmm. I think I don't know what question might be, but okay, as a podcaster, I want to ask, like, what are your aspirations like as a podcaster? Maybe like what do you want to like maybe like interview like in the future?
Well, I want to interview people who are truly deserving to be interviewed, who deserve to have their voices heard, just like yours. So you
Mm.
definitely belong here on Aaron's Opinion, and you're a forever member of Aaron's Opinion for sure. The other thing is, I want to truly, I have a slogan here at Aaron's Opinion: help one
Yeah,
person today, help a million people tomorrow. See, so if you
yeah,
only help one, you helped a million others. And that's something I truly believe in my heart. I don't know who I
mm,
want to interview next. I mean, you can tell me who to interview next. I always say, who should I interview next? Seriously, if you know someone there in South Africa who will benefit from being interviewed, definitely you can pass on my information. I would love to connect with them.
I think my mother.
I would be honored if she
Yeah,
would that's you know what? We've never done that before. That's really cool. I would love to hear
yeah,
and learn from her perspective of,
yeah,
of all of that. But I don't want to get too much into that in this recording because I think
mm,
that's going to be the next great episode of Aaron's Opinion. Sean, it's been a
mm,
tremendous honor to help you educate the world. You're always welcome here.
yeah,
As we say, I know I will see the South Africa flag in my analytics because I know you're listening to Aaron's Opinion once a week every Thursday at 1200 New York, or as you like to say, 7 p.m. right there in Pretoria. Thanks so much,
yeah,
everybody. And of course, we'll keep in touch over on the WhatsApp. Don't go anywhere. And of course, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Another great episode. Help one person today, help a million people tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
yeah.